Cambridge Bay, Cambridge Bay Inuinnaqtun, Iqaluktutiaq Inuktitut, Iqaluktutiaq 2016 population 1766, population center 1619 is a hamlet located on Victoria Island in the Kitikmeot Region of Nunavut, Canada. It is the largest settlement on Victoria Island. Cambridge Bay is named for Prince Adolphus, Duke of Cambridge 1774–1850, while the traditional Inuinnaqtun name. The traditional language of the area is Inuinnaqtun and is written using the Latin alphabet rather than the syllabics of the Inuktitut writing system. Like Kugluktuk, Bathurst Inlet and Umingmaktok, Cambridge Bay is the largest stop for passenger and research vessels traversing the Arctic Ocean's Northwest Passage, a disputed area which the Government of Canada claims are Canadian internal waters, while other nations state they are either territorial waters or international waters. Location and population. Situated between Dease Strait and Queen Maud Gulf on the southeast coast of Victoria Island Kitikmeot, part of the Arctic archipelago, Cambridge Bay is a transportation and administrative center for the Kitikmeot region. To the north of the community is Ferguson Lake Inuinnaqtun, Tahuiaq or Tahakaiawak, which flows into Wellington Bay via. The Echoluck River is both an important commercial fishing and archaeological area, and of particular importance is the short section of the river known as Iqaluktuttiaq. About 37 km 23 mi west of the community lie the Finlayson Islands, which were surveyed by Sir Richard Collinson on board HMS Enterprise during his search for the lost expedition of Sir John Franklin. The area was a traditional hunting and fishing location, and archaeological sites are often found. The barren ground caribou, muskox, Arctic char, lake trout and ringed seal were the primary prey and remain important food sources. Situated east of Cambridge Bay is ĩʃᓗᒃɁ Territorial Park, which includes the large esker known as ĩʃᓗᒃ Mount Pelly. As of the 2016 census, the population was 1766, an increase of 9.8% from the 2011 census. The median age of the population in 2011 was 27.4 and 71.5% of the people were over 15. Both of these figures are slightly higher than the numbers for Nunavut as a whole, 24.1 and 67.3%. In 2006, 82.7% Nunavut, 85.0% of the population were listed as Aboriginal, and 17.7% Nunavut, 15% as non-Aboriginal. Of the total population, 78.9% Nunavut, 84% were Inuit, 1.7% Nunavut, 0.4% Métis, and 1.4% Nunavut, 0.3% North American Indian. History. The first known people to occupy the area were the pre-Dorset people, somewhere around 1800 BCE, about 4,000 years ago, and were seal and caribou hunters. The next group to enter the area were Paleo-Eskimo peoples, known as the Dorset, who arrived approximately 500 CE. They were the first known people to have fished for the Arctic char. The last of the Paleo-Eskimo people, who appeared here about 800 CE, were the Tuniate, and evidence of their living quarters can be seen close to Cambridge Bay. The Tuniate, who were known to the Inuit as giants, were taller and stronger than the Inuit, but were easily scared off. The next group to arrive were the Thule people, ancestors of the modern Inuit, who arrived in the area around 1250 CE from present-day Alaska. The Thule people built food cache and stone houses in the area and were noted for their sophisticated tools. Although there is no positive evidence, it is suspected that the Thule may have interacted with the Tuniate. About 500 years ago, around 1500 CE, the modern Inuit made an appearance. Like the Thule, they made use of caches, hunted caribou, and fished for char. They also hunted seal from the ice in winter and returned to the land in spring. They were also known to make use of Inuktitut and built Iqaluktuttiaq. Although they had no collective name, the various groups of Inuit that made use of native copper for tools have since become known as Copper Inuit and are the same people that Vilhjalmur Stephenson called the Blonde Eskimos. The main groups that lived or interacted in the Cambridge Bay area were the Iqaluktuuttiaq Inuktitut or Iqalukturmiat, Hagmiat Hiremiat, the Kilinurmiut, and the Umingmaktok. The first Europeans to reach Cambridge Bay were overland explorers led by Thomas Simpson in 1839. They were searching for the Northwest Passage and had crossed the sea ice on foot. Another overland expedition led by John Ray reached Cambridge Bay in 1851, and the first ship to reach the bay was HMS Enterprise under Richard Collinson, who wintered there in 1852/53. Both Ray and Collinson were searching for Franklin's lost expedition. Collinson's ship came from the west, having entered the Canadian Arctic via the Bering Strait. This was the furthest east any large ship traveled from the Bering Strait until Henry Larson's west-east sailing of the Northwest Passage aboard St. Roch in 1941. Cambridge Bay was the site of Royal Canadian Mounted Police RCMP and Hudson's Bay Company HBC outposts established during the 1920s. Although at this point most Inuit would have continued the traditional lifestyle and only visited the area rather than live there permanently. The HBC opened a post here in 1921, later than in most places, and built at the site now called the Old Town. In 1925, the HBC purchased the historic ship Maud, which they renamed the Bay Maud, from the creditors of Arctic explorer Roald Amundsen. The ship sailed to the Arctic in 1926, but it became stuck in the winter ice at Cambridge Bay. The Maud was later anchored near the shore and used for various purposes, including the first ever radio weather reports from the Arctic coast. In 1930, the ship sank, and although some material was removed at the time, the ship remained visible for 86 years. A Norwegian planned to salvage the ship and return it to Norway, though initially denied an export permit, was granted on appeal and was to be carried out in 2014, but was delayed to 2015 due to ice conditions preventing the arrival of salvage equipment until late in the open water season. The planned salvage of 2015 was also delayed, however. During the summer of 2016, the Maud was raised and prepared for return to Norway during the summer of 2017, where she will be displayed at a museum in Vollen, Asker. In 1947, following World War II, the Cambridge Bay Loran Tower was built near the previous location of Cambridge Bay. The construction of the Loran Tower involved hiring Inuit who, after the tower was complete, remained in the area. The tower was demolished 5 August 2014. In 1954, construction was completed on the Roman Catholic Church. The church, Cambridge Bay's first, was constructed from local material using seal, oil, and sand as mortar, and was used for services until the 1960s. On 27 April 2006, a large portion of the church, which had been designated a heritage site by the Hamlet Council, was destroyed by a fire which the RCMP said was deliberate. A distant early warning line site was established in 1955. The military presence and the services and economy this represented acted as a magnet for Inuit who had previously used the area as a temporary site for meeting, hunting, fishing, and trade, and a permanent community was soon established across the bay in its current location. Unlike the majority of the DW line radar sites which were abandoned or automated, this site, which changed in 1989, known as CAM Main, remains a manned operation, with about 18 people, as part of the North Warning System. Originally part of the Fort Smith region, Northwest Territories, Cambridge Bay became the administrative center for the Kitikmeot Region, Northwest Territories, and remained so for the new Kitikmeot Region after the 1999 division of the Northwest Territories. In 1982, a division plebiscite was held. Although about 80% of the population then living in what is now Nunavut voted in favor of division, Cambridge Bay was one of only 2 communities to vote against division. Kugluktuk, then called Copperman, was the other. Canadian High Arctic Research Station Campus. Cambridge Bay is the location of the Canadian High Arctic Research Station, CHAR's campus, as announced by Prime Minister Stephen Harper on 24 August 2010. This multidisciplinary station is operated by Polar Knowledge Canada, a federal agency, and will operate year-round. It is a keystone of Canada's Northern Strategy. Its mandate is stated to be a world-class research station in Canada's Arctic that is on the cutting edge of Arctic issues. The station will anchor a strong research presence in Canada's Arctic that serves Canada and the world. It will advance Canada's knowledge of the Arctic in order to improve economic opportunities, environmental stewardship, and the quality of life of Northerners and all Canadians. Cambridge Bay was chosen after a feasibility study that also included Pond Inlet and Resolute as potential locations. Prime Minister Harper announced that, starting in 2012, the Government of Canada would spend $142.04 million over a 6-year period to build, equip, and provision the station. Additionally, again starting in 2012 and spread over 6 years, the government would provide $46.02 million for the CHAR's Science and Technology program. The Prime Minister stated that to provide for the continuing research and operations $26.05 million per year, beginning in 2018-19, would be made available. It is expected that the station will provide 35 to 50 jobs. These jobs, which will be full-time, part-time, and seasonal, will start in 2017 and run the Science and Technology program, as well as provide the day-to-day operations of the station. In addition, it is expected that 150 jobs will be created during construction for local and other people throughout the North. However, some of these jobs will require the hiring of specialized people from southern locales. Construction began in August 2014. Education. Several educational services are available, including daycare, preschool, Echoluck Elementary School, Iqaluktuttiaq High School, and a public library and museum located in the high school. The community is also the regional center for the Kitikmeot campus of Nunavut Arctic College, who oversee the Cambridge Bay Community Learning Center. Courses range from adult basic education to the Nunavut Teacher Education Program in TEP, which, in partnership with the University of Regina, is able to offer a Bachelor of Education. Land claims. The Kitikmeot Inuit Association, Nunavut Impact Review Board, and Nunavut Planning Commission have offices in Cambridge Bay, as well as the Lands and Resources Department of Nunavut.Cambridge Incorporated. Religion. There are 3 churches in Cambridge Bay: St. George's Anglican Church, which is part of the Diocese of Arctic, Our Lady of the Arctic Roman Catholic Church, which is part of the Diocese of Mackenzie-Fort Smith, and the Glad Tidings Pentecostal Church. Economy and infrastructure. There are several businesses in the community, and these include a northern store which includes a quick stop, selling KFC and Pizza Hut products, the Iqaluktutiaq Cooperative, part of the Arctic Cooperatives Limited, a branch of the Royal Bank of Canada, and a Canada Post Postal Service. Other community businesses include Jago Services, Plumbing and Electrical, Kitnana Construction, Mechanics Shop, Heating Fuel and Kitikmeot Supplies, a hardware store, Calvic Enterprises and Nanook Woodworking, both construction companies, and Inuinnaqtun Enterprises, a general contractor, who also operate a service garage. There are 3 tax. There is a modern health center, the Kitikmeot Regional Health Center, in the community that opened in 2005. It provides facilities that were previously unavailable in the region. However, certain procedures still require a trip to Yellowknife or Edmonton. In 2010, the birthing center was opened in the same building and included local midwives. In 2017, the long-term residential care unit was opened upstairs at the Kitikmeot Regional Health Center. There is a RCMP detachment in Cambridge Bay, and the Kitikmeot Law Center has its offices in the community. The hotels include the Umingmaktok Lodge Bed and Breakfast, the Arctic Islands Lodge, run by the Co-op, and the Green Row, operated by Inuinnaqtun Enterprises. Phone service is provided by Northwestel, a division of BC Inc. Buildings in Cambridge Bay, like in most Nunavut communities, have water and sewage tanks that require regular services by truck. These services, along with garbage pickup, are done by the hamlet. Media, radio. Cambridge Bay is served by two CBC Radio 1 rebroadcasters to allow residents to hear Inuinnaqtun language programming, which is the language spoken in Cambridge Bay, that is aired in the afternoons by CHAC. Television. Channel 9 Seabent, CBC North went dark 31, July 2012. Channel 51 is a local channel run by the Kitikmeot Inuit Association featuring local and territorial films, videos, and documentaries. Cable television is available from the local co-op and satellite television from either Shaw Direct or Bell Satellite TV. Internet services. Northwestern High-Speed Internet, DSL, Polarnet, Internet service provider for the Kitikmeot region. Kinik, broadband Internet service provider for Nunavut. The community has been served by the Kinik network since 2005. Kinik is a fixed wireless service to homes and businesses, connecting to the outside world via satellite backbone. The Kinik network is designed and operated by SSI Micro. In 2017, the network was upgraded to 4G LTE technology and 2G GSM for mobile voice. ExploreNet, satellite internet service provided by Cascom. Transportation. Although Cambridge Bay lies on the Northwest Passage, there are no passenger ships other than tourist cruises. Northern Transportation Company Limited and Nunavut Sealink and Supply, owned by Arctic Cooperatives Limited, provide annual sealift to the community. The only passenger services are through the Cambridge Bay Airport, from which daily air service to Yellowknife and to the other Kitikmeot region communities with Canadian North or First Air. Charter and Medevac air ambulance services are provided by Kiwitin Air. Former Medevac operator Adlair Aviation still operates charters in the region. In the summer, floatplane charters are provided by DL Aviation from the Cambridge Bay Water Aerodrome. In 2012, the roads of Cambridge Bay were imaged for Google Street View by a tricycle fitted with a camera system. While Cambridge Bay had no cars, at the time only snowmobiles, apps, subs, buses and trucks, Google responded to a proposal by Cambridge Bay resident Chris Echoluck to include Arctic communities in Street View in order to educate the rest of the world. Through Google Street View, one can even enter the indoor swimming pool and have a look around. Climate. Cambridge Bay has a polar climate, no month having an average temperature of 10 deg C 50 deg F or higher, and is listed as ET on the Köppen climate classification. It has never recorded a temperature above freezing between 31 October and 19 April. Summers are typically cool and rainy, with pleasant days and chilly nights. Winters are cold, dark, and long, with October being the snowiest month. Snowfall and frosts are possible all year round. Rainfall is usually limited to the summer months, when the temperature shortly rises above freezing for a few months before dipping back down for another 9 months of winter. Springs are typically sunny but still very chilly. Autumns are short and crisp, with more frequent cloud cover starting to appear during August and with September being almost constantly cloudy. The sun is continuously below the horizon, polar night, from approximately 30 November to 11 January and above the horizon. Midnight sun 19 May to 22 July. Notable residents. Stephen Iqaluktuuttiaq, an Inuinnaqtun fur trader and trading post operator at Kugluktuk River. Bill Lyle was a member of the 8th Northwest Territories Legislative Assembly from 1975 to 1979. He was later awarded the Order of Canada for his work with the Arctic Cooperative. Helen Maxigak, the first woman and the first Inuk to be Commissioner of the Northwest Territories 1995-1999, and the first Commissioner of Nunavut 1999-2000, she was awarded the Order of Canada for her work. Kelvin Inge won the 1995 election and the first Nunavut election in 1999 representing the Cambridge Bay riding. Red Pedersen worked with Stephen Angulalic while at Perry River and was elected in both the 1993 NWT election and the 1997 NWT election. Keith Peterson was the current member of Legislative Assembly of Nunavut, having won in the 2004 election and was acclaimed in the 2008 election. Peterson was the longest-serving Minister of Finance and was Minister of Health and Social Services. He retired in 2017. Tuniate Gillies, an Inuk throat singer and painter, she has performed at Folk on the Rocks in 2005, 2010 and 2015, toured with Bjork and released 4 albums, Sina'ok/Blood, Inuinnaqtun, and Animism. Kane Talaganak, elected to represent the Central Arctic in the 1979 election.